Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred.
The marginal man is a term coined by sociologist Everett Stonequist. The marginalized man is one who straddles two cultures in society. The marginalized person may be rejected and feel alienated by one or both parents, home, or school.
This nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
The simultaneous alienation from Western cultural traditions and the culture of their parents can encourage the embrace of what they perceive as a cultural-free global Islamic militancy. Political Islam is different in the West. The rejection of culture is central to this movement. Its participants often felt alienated from any culture, native or adopted. The assertion of Islam identity is that it floats above everything cultural. It is sustained by a sense of moral superiority. The identity of Islam creates a decultured, rule-based space where one asserts Muslim difference. Allegiance to the tribe becomes all-important. Membership comes with its own rituals, symbols, and actions. But rarely does this identity become terrorism. Mark Sageman, a forensic psychiatrist, says that in terror cells, the kinship and friendship networks combine with images of violence against Muslims to encourage a deepening faith in ideology. Sageman argues that poverty, religious belief, and frustration are necessary but not sufficient to explain jihadist violence. When these groups unite with al-Qaeda leaders or trainers, the danger of terrorist violence heightens. It is then they, through poverty and religious conflict, become vulnerable to access by the better resourced members of al-Qaeda. All that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. What can we do to prevent terrorism? The French intellectual Tariq Ramadan argues that we must emphasize our commonalities. He says it is most important to break down the us versus them mentality with Islamic communities. Furthermore, we must take on the challenge to persuade young Muslims that there is meaning in being American as well as Muslim. A greater public voice is all important in making minorities feel included. We can learn from the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King.
The question is not, if I stop to help this man in need, what will happen to me? The question is, if I do not stop to help, what will happen to them? That's the question.
We can do something.
You could do something.
Let us develop a kind of dangerous unselfishness.
It's not about your religion.
Sure. It's not about the color of your skin.
Just do something.
They have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone.
There's no one way to volunteer.
Find an organization that suits you.
Find something that interests you. Get involved.
Decide what you can do and find a service organization that can help. Here's a list of just a few.
Get involved. Do you see a need?
Together, we can build stronger communities.
Become a volunteer.
Volunteers care enough to break the silence.
Volunteering promotes education and leadership.
Volunteering creates community.
Volunteers help others. Volunteers care about equality.
Volunteers build connections. Businesses can build the communities they serve.
Together, we can build stronger families.
The needs are bigger than you.
There's only one you.
Make it count.
I'm a volunteer.
I am a volunteer.
I'm a volunteer.
I'm a volunteer.
I'm a volunteer.